So now that we've talked about in general how strategy and structure fit, let's talk about specific examples now of strategy and organizational structure. So so sales growth creates coordination and control problems, and controls the existing organizational structure cannot efficiently handle sometimes. Organizational growth creates opportunity for the firm to change its strategy to become even more successful. Existing structures, formal reporting relationships, our procedures, our controls, our authority, our decision-making processes lack the sophistication required to support using new strategies, meaning that sometimes as we grow, a new organizational structure is needed. So firms choose from among three major types of organizational structures to implement strategies. The simple structure you see at the top of this chart, functional structure, and multi-divisional structure. Across time, successful firms might move from simple to functional to multi-divisional structure in organizations. So let's talk about what these are specifically. A simple structure is an organizational form in which the owner or manager makes all the major decisions. They monitor all the activities. When the firm's staff serves an extension of the manager's supervisory authority, we do what we're told to do. Simple structures are characterized by informal relationship, fewer rules, limited tasks, and limited task specialization, so more people do more diverse work, and unsophisticated information systems. We can, in a simple structure, if it's successful as they grow, there's sometimes more need for more complexity, but in a simple structure, we know each other, we know what we're doing, we have very top-down kind of power within the organization, and those department heads talk to each other. In a functional structure, we see the CEO or the president at the top of the organization again, but with limited corporate staff, with functional line managers in really dominant organizational areas such as product research and development, operations, marketing, HR, and finance. So those heads all have departments under them. And that allows for functional specialization, thereby facilitating active sharing of knowledge within each functional area. Now, it can negatively affect communication and coordination among those representing different organizational functions because we're more specialized now. Our tasks are more specialized and we know more about each of these areas that we work specifically in. This structure supports implementing business level strategies and some corporate level strategies with low levels of diversification. So multi-divisional structure is our most complex structural type, and it really has limits to an individual CEO's ability to process complex strategic information. Sorry, I said that backwards. It's available because of limits to an individual CEO's ability to process complex strategic information, problems related to isolation of those functional area managers, and increasing diversification. So as organizations grow, the structure of the firm has to change as well. In these instances, the multi-divisional structure, also called IMFORM, is more appropriate. It consists of corporate office and operating divisions. Each operating division represents a separate business or a profit center in which the top corporate officer delegates the responsibilities and for day-to-day operations and business unit strategy to division managers. As initially designed, the IMFORM was thought to have three major benefits. It enabled corporate officers to more accurately monitor business unit performance, which simplified control problems. It facilitated comparisons between divisions, which improved resource allocation process, and it stimulated managers of poorly performing divisions to look for ways to improve performance. The INFORM is widely adopted organizational structure due to the fact that diversification is a dominant corporate level strategy in a global economy today. It's used to support implementation of related and unrelated diversification strategies. So firms use different form of organizational structures. Three important structural characteristics between business level strategies and functional structures are the specialization, that's concerned with the type and number of jobs required to complete the work, centralization, which has to do with decision-making authority, and formalization, the degree to which formal rules and procedures govern the work. So those three factors in a growing organization are important as we now go to look at the match between a functional structure option and the business level strategies, which you learned earlier in this course. So firms that use a cost leader strategy, remember a cost leader strategy is, let me move this. The cost leader strategy is when we are competing in a broad market and where we're very focused on having low costs. So firms using that strategy want to sell large quantities of a standardized product to an industry or a segment. The cost leadership form of the functional structure usually features simple reporting relationships, a few layers in the decision-making authority, a centralized corporate staff, a strong focus on process improvements through manufacturing rather than the development of new products. That makes sense, right? We're trying to keep costs low, provide mass marketed products. And so we are more focused on those manufacturing ideas rather than new product and development. A low-cost culture in which employees can constantly try to find ways to reduce the cost incurred to complete their work. That's highly centralized decision-making and highly specialized jobs. The division of work into these homogeneous subgroups helps us to support highly formalized rules and practices. We don't have a lot of freedom to explore because we're focused on making mass producing items at low costs. So we can use the functional structure for implementing a differentiation strategy. So this match works because firms are offering products that are considered unique by customers, usually are following a differentiated strategy, which requires complex and flexible reporting relationships, frequent use of cross-functional product development teams, and a strong focus on marketing and product R&D rather than manufacturing and process R&D. A development-oriented culture and flatter structure in which employees try to find ways and frequently exchange ideas about how to further differentiated current products and develop new highly differentiated products. So we have a decentralized decision-making responsibility and authority, low specialization of jobs, and few formal rules and procedures because development, innovation, and creativity are important in this organization. So we can use the functional structure also in an integrated cost leadership differentiated strategy, but it's going to look a little bit different. So when we have a firm that attempts to implement simultaneously cost leadership and differentiated strategy to provide value through low cost relative to our unique firm's products, differentiated products, then differentiated features are relative to the features offered by the cost leader products. So the integrated cost leadership differentiated strategy is used frequently in a global economy, though it's difficult to implement. And it's difficult largely due to the fact that different primary and support activities, which we talked about in chapter 3, have to be emphasized. The integrated cost leader differentiated strategy is used by firms to sell products that create value because of their relatively low cost and reasonable sources of differentiation. It's used frequently in a global economy. It's challenging to implement due largely to the fact that different value chain and support activities are emphasized. But to achieve the cost leader position, production and process engineering have to be emphasized with infrequent product changes. So it's a pretty complicated type of structure to pull off. It's characterized by decision-making patterns, partially centralized and partially decentralized, semi-specialized jobs, rules and procedures that call for formal procedures, but also allow for informal, flexible decisions and choices. And that measure of flexibility emphasizes, has to be emphasized across the organization. So it can be a pretty complex organization to manage, control, and see above average returns, honestly. So when we come back, we're going to talk about the match between corporate level structures and multi-divisional structures. So I'll be right back. Thanks.